Hello and welcome to the Virtual Film Company's broadcast from Spatial. We're here on spatial.io every 2 weeks to talk about interesting topics like AI, virtual reality, and more. And today we're going to be looking at a bunch of different things. We're going to be looking at the new Oculus Quest 3. We're going to be talking about how LLMs can be poisoned and some of the other tools out there that are being used for nefarious purposes. And we're going to look at some of the, use moral issues relating to LLMs, but the advances we're seeing in terms of LLMs and other AI platforms, programs, or whatever the term is, for something that's not a large language model.
Right.
But for them to become conscious of past things and to be able to remember past events and then make conclusions based on those. So it should be a very, very interesting show. I think we're going to start with the Oculus Quest. Is that correct, Chris?
It looks like it. Yes, definitely. So, yeah, I mean, guess a lot of people know that we are talking a lot about the Metaverse for more than 2 years, just remember that correctly. And one of the most important utilities that you need to get into the Metaverse, even if you want to get really deep into it, it's a head-mounted display. And there are not too many companies that are creating those. And one of the biggest is for sure Meta, formerly known as Facebook. And they just released a new headset, the Meta Quest3. And we talked about this a little bit here. But now we just want to dive a little bit deeper and see what do we really expect here? What can we expect, and what do we as persons now want to get out of it? And what are our expectations especially?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I did get a Quest 3 and I had some expectations, which perhaps is wrong because it seems if one has expectations, those aren't met. And, one of the things that I really liked about seeing the pictures of the Quest 3 was its form factor, that it looked, well, it is, much more compact than the Quest 1 and the Quest 2, and this is where it's gone. But It's actually slightly heavier than the Quest 2. And, I also knew this out of the gate. And, unfortunately, I didn't have the extra money to spend on, a new head strap and a faceplate and all of that. And I will end up buying those or returning the Quest 3. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do right now because, it's visually, I can see the enhancement, but it's still this heavy piece of gear that's hanging on one's face. And, in my opinion, the head strap that comes with it is just not adequate. I've never developed ever, and you said that, we've actually been doing this now for 3 years. I was quite surprised. I looked at something the other day and I was like, wow, okay. Yeah. But, there's this, the color pass-through is okay, but I had visions of me being able to wear this thing and using augmented reality and switching to virtual reality and whatever on, but it's just so uncomfortable that, as I say, it's the first headset that has ever given me a pressure headache because just of the way it sits. And
so even more than the Quest 1, because I'm still using a Quest 1 and I'm okay with it. I'm not wearing it too long and too often in this case, but well, I can imagine that if everything is somehow lightweight, but the front is heavy because, well, somewhere they have to put all the stuff in. There's a display, that's heavy somehow. A lot of chips, but those chips are not really heavy, but sensors and stuff like that. So sure, if all the rest is really, really light, the full weight will be on the front, and that's not the best way to, let's say, set it up. But they probably will sell you for $100 some nice additions to that.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. No, I could have paid, and I just didn't have the money. I mean, I really didn't have the money
get
to
that.
upgrade.
I did get the. I spent the $80 to get the Elite strap because if you remember last year, I did get the Quest Pro, and one of the things I really, for me, with this Oculus 3 is you're getting the controllers very much feel like the controllers that the Quest Pro had. And the headset, if you spend the $80, that's why I really did like the screw in the back, the way it does counterbalance it a bit better. But for that $500 entry fee that they're giving you into it, you're not getting, obviously, the other one was $1,800 last year. So they are wanting you to spend a little bit to get some of those things. And like I said, that was the one that I was like, okay, I'll spend a couple more bucks because you do need a different strap than what the thing comes.
For sure,
like you do.
For sure.
I feel like
I mean, that's my biggest gripe is, and Chris, I think I've always bought new straps. So with the Quest 1, I don't remember any discomfort. I mean, it was just totally amazing. I think it's just, there was no time to experience discomfort. Finally, we'd got into VR, like real VR at an affordable price. But I mean, as Eric says, if you can afford it, buy the one with the better head strap. And does a faceplate come with that as well? Because I found that the faceplate on the standard version is rather hard.
Really? Does it?
I mean, it's uncomfortable. And with the Quest 2, I replaced mine and with a
smoother one.
Yeah, a smoother one, and it's much more.
I mean, it depends on the face of each person, right? I have a very small face, like an alien. No. I will probably have to check that when I'm getting my Quest probably next year, I guess. But I mean, this is for sure a point for people that are just starting with all these topics and think like, okay, I'm going to buy a Quest 3, cannot do something wrong because this is one of the most sold objects out there. But be aware that there is additional hardware that you might need if you, again, have some problems with the weight of the headset on your face, basically. And there are additional things, as Eric said, $80 for a special headset strap. It adds to the $550 or what is it, or $500 that the Quest 3 costs, probably. So you have to think about that. But I mean, well, sorry.
It's totally open to. I mean, to me, let's get past getting past the tech. I've just been busy and have not had enough time to adventure around in it. I'm very interested to see what this augmented reality is. And for people who are going from one set to another headset, if you have an Oculus 2 already, do you need to upgrade to a 3? I mean, this is a real question that I'm sure people are asking because, with the new phone, people are always like, do I need this? And I'm ready to explore and really see some of the augmented reality because for a little bit better graphics, is it necessarily good to run out and grab one of these? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, that's for sure a point somehow. If you are into VR gaming and you want the best quality in the end, I think the better graphics, because it's really quite a bit better. And especially if you're going into the augmented reality mode, and we have to explain that this is the mode when you see your real environment that you're standing in. Normally, it's not seen because you're in virtual reality. Everything around you is virtual. But if you want to have the augmented experience, there are some sensors and cameras in front of the headset. We can see those three black elements there on the front. Two of them are cameras, and they are just creating a 360 image, basically, or 180 image of your environment. And because the quality of those cameras is quite good, and also the quality of the panels, the monitors that you have inside, you can have a good impression of your environment. And then, additionally, on top of your environment, you will see 3D objects. There are games where objects are coming through the wall and through the roof, and you can shoot them or whatever kind of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
And
That's
what
I'm really looking forward to. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you need good quality graphics there. It's definitely a much better experience than on a Quest 2 or even on a Quest 1.
You do. So the other things that I'm looking forward to testing a little bit more is, how good is it going to work with just your hands without the controllers? I think that's a great feature for some games, to not have to have your hands on. There's a rumor that eventually, your feet will be tracked as well. So I'm interested to see how it's going to evolve, and check back in on some of this motion capture to see if we can see a dramatic change in how good we're being tracked.
Right. So I just have to say, when it comes to expectations, I'm doing VR quite for a while, and each new hardware device has more capabilities. That's great. I would love to see much more special applications with this new hardware, and for example, the augmented reality enhancements. I would love to see much more sophisticated, special apps coming up that are using this technology to bring more people in, if it's for learning, for education or training or whatever kind of stuff. So that is my expectation, that with this next step, we will have also the opportunity to see more content, right? That is what I'm hoping for.
Well, definitely. And, one of the interesting things that, it's also got a better processor in it. And so people on chat have been observing, for instance, that avatars that could only previously be seen with PCVR can now sometimes be seen with the new Quest. And so, and I think that is the big test that I still need to put it to, is that it did come with a free game, and I do have a few games that
yeah, but that game does not come out until December 15th. So even though they're promising the game, they're giving people time to ramp up. This is going to be the big Christmas push, as obviously this new game that's coming out. So for me, my takeaway on this thing with VR being on this, what I'm yet to see when we're talking about, to wrap it up with Chris, with applications, expectations, I'm yet to see the app, like, you got the Beat Saber and stuff like that. But what the app that actually everybody goes, you have to get this headset, you have to, what is going to be the augmented reality experience, to whether it's able to go to events that other people are attending in other places of the world, like what are we really going to create that's going to be the event that people are like, I have to get this headset? Because I feel like we're yet to see that like this technology, you just got to get it. Like, to me, this is magic. So I'm waiting for that experience, to where you could really like put somebody in the headset. They're telling their friend, you got to check this out. The friend puts the headset on. They're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy this thing. And I think we're yet to really deliver that.
Well, I think we delivered that with the Quest 1, actually, where it was just like, this is a totally amazing experience. But you seem to be asking for something more. You seem to be talking about holographic representations that you can walk through, or
I don't know what it is. I just know that like
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing is I don't see the apps. Yes, it was amazing going into this thing, but the real amazing experience that somebody shares it with their friend and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I absolutely have to have this thing." You know, I'm just not seeing that application created yet. Like I said, the closest thing was like a Beat Saber, but even that, like somebody puts it on, they're like, "Okay, this is kind of cool." But is it enough to buy the headset just for that kind of, I just feel like there's more that can be done from maybe, it's just, that's what my opinion is. We're yet to see like the app that somebody's like, I have to buy this thing.
Well, what is a
killer
gym
app.
membership? Go ahead, Chris.
No, I mean that's what everyone is asking for a new device, the killer application that everyone needs, like
Right.
VisiCalc that was selling Apple IIs in the beginning, and everyone said like, "Wow, we can do something with this." I think that productivity apps, for example, having big screens, like we saw that on the Apple device that was shown several months ago. We can do that basically also on the Quest 3, maybe not in the mega high quality, but in a high quality as well. And having a work environment with gigantic screens that can be shared in a room, and sharing a space, looking at the same machine with 5 people that are in a co-working space in a virtual one. And you can turn stuff and change things and show whatever kind of layouts or whatever. So I think those things will be interesting. And again, this
Yeah.
is not something for thousands of dollars.
No, and you know, you're 100% right, Chris. And actually, as you said that, one of the apps that I could buy that I seen in there, it's like $20 for the virtual desktop. And
right.
when I got the Quest Pro, I was just kind of downloading all that stuff, setting it up, but I only had 2 weeks to test it. So I didn't really get efficient with it. But as somebody who deals in business regularly, that is obviously one thing that I definitely feel like I should explore and get back to us on this. I know we got a lot of topics to cover though. So does anyone else want to bring up
That's
or we get to the next one?
Great point about virtual desktop, and I'm with you there. It's one of those products I've looked at. I think I tried out and keep looking at, and I hear it's really great with the Quest 3. I hear that they've added some enhancements. All the stuff I hear is good. Definitely would recommend.
Right. So more to come. And yeah, I guess you guys already have the device and you will go on adventures and explore. And I'm eager to hear more in the next talks. We will always now frequently update this adventure and see what's coming in the next talk shows. So we have some more topics here prepared for today. I mean, we can now, let's say, some more, right? So let's say we can jump over to this one here.
Okay.
That is called
malicious AI, right?
Malicious AI. So who wanted to say something about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about malicious AI, and I think, I mean, probably when people look at this and think, malicious AI, they're thinking about AI ganging up on mankind, wiping out the human race, and and I continue to. I mean, even yesterday, I heard something about that. This whole thing about he poisoned, and that's the whole problem with this, is that you're dealing with the machine, right? You're dealing with the machine, and the machine is only as good as the stuff that goes into it. If you put garbage in and you corrupt the data, the machine is no longer going to work. What you put out is going to be garbage. And so, one of the things out there is Poison GPT. that's actually being malicious to AI. Over the last 2 days, a company has introduced or announced that they're going to be putting out a product called Nightshade, which will protect artists by allowing them to corrupt anyone's databases that happen to scan their image without permission. I'm a big supporter of copyright and all of that, but I really think that if someone sets out to corrupt a machine, that should be illegal, and no matter what the rationale for that is. But going back into AI being malicious, again, as I said, all what one puts into the machine, and so you have examples like fraud GPT and worm GPT,
Right.
which are versions of GPT that basically have been fed information about how to crack systems, how to write code to crack systems, how to do things like port sweeps and all nefarious stuff. So they're basically specifically for that. And there's others, XXX GPT, Wolf GPT, and these allow one to do a variety of things, from creating phishing emails to spear phishing to whaling to actually creating malicious code. But again, it's really just something that's created by people. I'm sure there's one out there that
there's just a special place for people out there doing all this phishing stuff. Like, there's enough garbage phishing out there with these auto calls and these garbage emails that I don't know. Like, we don't need any more of that. That's just trash.
Well, that's only going to get worse, and whether
Exactly.
it's the danger of AI or just a danger of technology. I mean, take the early days of mailing lists where stuff had to be stuck on an envelope and sent out to people, and now you can just push a button and blast people. But AI is going to be able to do a better job at demographics. I mean, that's where you're going to get targeted.
Don't you think that there's going to be software that's going to come out to where it's just going to create a filter to where it's going to be able to tell if this is a phishing email, and obviously people who are in your contacts get through, the levels of security barriers need to be also created out there so people can't get through. Like they got to get through a filter before they get to you.
Yeah, people have been trying to do that for 40 years, and it still gets through. One of the things about AI, and particularly if you're doing spear phishing, is that you can, using one of these engines, and I'm not going to give any more details about how to get them, you can request information about a person and their social media accounts and everything else, and very easy to fool email servers into believing that an address is an address that being sent.
I'm sure there's going to be some people. I'm sure there will be some people upset about that. Their OnlyFans content could get discovered.
That's going to make it a lot easier to accumulate information on people. That in seconds you could have a profile of a person based on their social media posts, all of their posts, where they live, what they own, and that could all be analyzed into a report, which would take an intelligence analyst, human analyst, days, weeks, sometimes more, depending on how strong it is. But
think about for sure that the data that was already forwarded.
Exactly.
The big companies have. That is one part, but also think about a malicious AI that is just dragging you into things like, for example, there are these groups that are trying to get people in to, for example, sell stuff for them on eBay, stolen stuff, or all these things. And now think about most of the time, those people are getting hired without knowing what they're doing illegally, and they get be approached on email or whatever. Now think about if there's a malicious AI trained that is speaking to you, someone is calling you, or someone is doing a chat with you in a chat room where you normally hang out with people, and they're starting like, hey, do you want to work for us? And we have some good opportunities for you, and here and there. And it's starting to create something like a connection with you before it takes you into some shady, I don't know, kind of
No,
things.
exactly. There's a lot of that going on in LinkedIn, fortunately. People
Really?
are being
On LinkedIn already?
fake job offers where end up paying and providing information that gets them ripped off. So,
but those are still real. They're not AIs doing that yet.
well, I believe there are. I mean, it depends on. I mean, AI is being used in many cases to select targets, right? And so it's looking at people that are looking for jobs or people in a particular industry. It just allows one to drill down more. I mean, one of the things that when you mentioned databases that AI has gotten really good at is, as you know, over the last, say, 10 years, I don't know how many data breaches there have been, but, thousands where people's usernames and passwords have been stolen and other information, and all of this information is available. And so what's happened is people have taken all of this, or not all, but a lot of this information and had AI look at it, right? And so, they can know with a good probability that, Joe Smith's password is such and such. And, people repeat passwords. They do things like, add numbers to them. And so, there's an AI GAN called PassGAN, right? Which, with an AI, a password with 7 characters, right? That even if it contains lowercase, uppercase numbers and symbols, it's 3 minutes to crack that password, based on everything it knows. And
Sure, definitely. As an intelligent password cracker that is just fishing for information and trying to put things together, especially when it knows you and it knows how you think and how you combine words or whatever. They can get really good at it. In this case, you can just go to anyone and say, use a password manager and use a safe password manager.
Right.
Don't use a password manager that you don't know, because any cracking group could program also a password manager, right? That's also the great thing, like, oh, take any password manager. No, because those could be malicious as well. Take one from a good company where you can trust them and use those. Those passwords are so cryptic, and well, that will be really hard to guess them or to brute force attack them.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like these days one needs an 18-character password, but I mean, it reminds me of when I used to do this for a living. Basically, we used to use programs like Hashcat and John the Ripper, and they were only effective as much as one could give them data, right? So you fed them dictionaries of different languages, dictionaries of whatever, so they could start recognizing patterns. But it was always, when done by hand, and it was it was on the computer, and so that did help. But these 18 characters, or a mixture of 18 characters, is recommended these days. But saying that, if we see quantum computing becoming mainstream, then that 18-character password could possibly be broken in seconds as well. I mean, the more computing power we have, the more we can go up against these systems, because basically depends on.
Well, hopefully the filters get better. I think this subject was so controversial they decided to kick me out of here, so I had to come back. So
no,
I
Eric,
don't
I think
know.
they have enough other reasons to kick you. No.
Probably.
Well, we can close
Yeah.
that topic off with, one comment I had that, people, if they're interested to see if their passwords have been compromised, right, is to go to a site called haveibeenpawned.com, and that's WNED.com. And my username and password has been involved in 32 data breaches, right? So, it's like, check it out and face the reality of the fact that if you're still using a password or from a while ago or weak passwords, you are compromised already. Do something about it. So what's our next topic then?
All right. Okay. So we have so much in the making here, guys. Come on. What is the next topic?
I did appreciate, though, John closing it off with, hey, if you want to know if you've been breached, here you go. Here, you want to go in there. So I'm glad we left him with that. But yeah, it's a scary topic, man. This is people's data. But yeah, we can get to the next topic.
Right. And for sure, this is also getting more and more advanced and dangerous for people. We have to keep track with that topic as well. And the next topic, well, this is something quite special I heard about in the last days, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about it. And I first probably have to explain a little bit about what is Mem GPT. Is that the evolution of the large language model? Yes or no? Tell me, guys. Yeah, no? Well,
you know what? I'm thinking it is, because that's why you want to talk about it, but that's just a guess.
Oh, yeah, just because of that. Yeah, you're right. No, I just give you a little from their website. I just copied something here. Like, we introduce Mem GPT, Memory GPT, a system that intelligently manages different memory tiers in order to efficiently provide extended context within the LLM, large language model, limited context window, and utilizes interrupts to manage control flow between itself and the user. I will explain a little later. We evaluate our OS-inspired design in two domains where the limited context windows of modern LLMs really handicaps their performance. Document analysis, where MemGPT is able to analyze large documents that far exceeds the underlying LLM context window. And multi-session chat, where MemGPT can create conversational agents that remember, reflect, and evolve dynamically. I think that's important, through long-term interactions with their users. So what does this mean?
It sounds impressive.
It sounds impressive, and if you think about what is the base of this idea, it's really impressive, because think about what you need when we are communicating as humans, when we are communicating about our next show and we're preparing whatever. There's a lot of things that we remember. Like, I remember what John is talking about and what his specialty is, and so on. Same for Eric, and same for Jolly, who's always with us here in our audience. And this is so important to know the last conversations and what people are about and what they think and what interests them. On this base of knowledge, we can evolve our conversations. We can go on and do better things. Think about how we are interacting with the large language model at the moment. when we use ChatGPT. We start ChatGPT and we have a session. We say, can you tell me something like this or that? And then the session is over and ChatGPT will forget about it. But now with MemGPT, we will have a large language model that is able to decide by itself what part of this conversation with you is going to store somewhere and to use again when you go back and do your next conversation with the large language model. So it will build up something like a history, right? And that enables it to get much deeper into the conversation and much deeper knowledge about you, for example. And also for topics, for example, it will be able to store certain different and important parts of topics, right? When a model is trained on something special. So it's getting much deeper into the functionalities.
Yeah, it's going to make for like sophisticated conversations and relationships with these things that you're going to
definitely and it's getting more human somehow, right? It's like it's getting a new feature that we humans had before and LLM didn't have. So who's interested in that, you can find memgpt.ai as a website, and you can also download that code from GitHub. It's just an experiment at the moment, but it shows where the travel is going to. And I would be interested, what feature would you like to have when you hear about this now? Like a large language model is able to store information. What do you think would make sense when you are communicating with ChatGPT, for example, or any other LLM?
Well, I think like if you're building a business and this is consulting you with creating content, all of these things, you know, helping you do research on potential new clients, and it builds a case study with you, and to have it help you make decisions, I mean, that's really powerful.
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yeah, that's great.
So what are we talking about here?
We're talking about the dating as well. Like, and unfortunately, that's what I was going to as well. Like with dating, you know, to build like a relationship, you know, there's something to be said about this thing remembers and all of that stuff. And
Well, but I think it does, you know, the point that you raise, Chris, I think is an interesting one, because as AI evolves, and I think it's still true to say that we don't fully understand yet how it does evolve, what is going to be the difference between a AI that can remember things? If you can remember things, you have to be able to associate emotions and feelings to those things. And people would say, well, machines can't feel, but yes, they can, because we're seeing, you know, machines be angry and machines showing emotions like that because they've learned about these emotions from, you know, popular literature. Same reason why some of these things are racist. It's because they learned from popular literature. And so, you know, at what point, since none of us can say, yeah, there is a God, right? And recently some physicists have claimed that they found proof of the fact that we are actually in a simulation. You know, at what time does an intelligent AI that has all of these capabilities make them any different from a person, right?
A super intelligent person with an IQ of, what would your IQ be?
Well, that's exactly it, Eric. And I think, you know, when I think of AI evolving like this, I always think of medical science. I mean, a cure for cancer would be wonderful, but, you know, there are, I don't know how many millions, I think it's in the high numbers of Americans that suffer from Alzheimer's disease, where you basically have a human that can't remember their past, and that can't even imagine.
Yeah, I definitely. Alzheimer's, for example, is for sure. Imagine you have a very good assistant that is helping you and that learns with you what, because it's a so special disease where you're losing your memories and, people are losing different parts, for example, and so on. So if you have an assistant that can always fill the gap for you and that learns with you exactly the parts that you were missing because it's always with you, wow. I mean, that would be incredible in my opinion.
Well, there's been a lot of work done recently in induction and the brain. So being able to, rather than put implants in the brain, to be able to pick up brain waves using induction. And so, there's people talking about that being a two-way street. And so, it's possible that we could one day, see people's memories being replaced by AI when they can't remember. And also AI helping them do things like complex calculations by using induction.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this subject, as you guys bring it up, it just makes me think of that movie Her, to where like Joaquin Phoenix just had this just the way it went through emails and sorted things through. What's the important stuff I need to hear, and was read to him and all of that stuff. And that movie, the thing that blows me away is that movie's supposed to be like 25 years from now. And I'm looking at where technology is advancing, and some of that stuff is here now, or, in another year or two, how far will we be, close to that? It's a great question.
So what was the movie about, Eric? I haven't seen it.
He has, it takes place in it's like 2040 something, and he has a virtual, like an AI girlfriend. And that he builds with that. The movie, I want to say, came out 5, 6, 7 years ago. So, it's a lot has happened in the last, but it just shows you how far technology is advanced from where we're at.
I mean, think about of the 80s movies like Project Brainstorm, where they were recording memories and playing them back or whatever on tapes in that movie. But it's amazing. People are thinking about this technology somehow for a long time because it's an issue somehow for special people. Anyways, so this versatility of an artificial intelligence today, that is so amazing, right? That you can do that with one basic technology like a transformer model, like a GPT model that is so versatile that you can create something like text with it and do research and so on and so on. It's really amazing, and well, they're just going after this technology for 10 years or whatever when Google Brains started in 2013, 14 or whatever with the GPT, and wow, I mean, it's amazing, this explosion that we see now in technology.
Well, it's interesting, Eric. I mean, you bring up that movie, and one of the things that I've always said is that anything that you read in science fiction, like Jules Verne, I think is a great example of stuff that people at that time thought was just total, never will happen, commonplace today. I mean, dreams, for example.
We need Nautilus GPT.
But this also goes back to the danger, right, of poisoning these LLMs and other databases. Is that we are seeing that right now with people downloading, trying to get content. I mean, people are excited about this, and so some bad actors are inserting nefarious content into these models. They're making them attractive or look attractive, have beautiful pictures of what this model has done, and people are getting bitten by that. And it's just careful. Well,
Shame
but, worse
Shame on these people. And,
yeah, but getting back to the girlfriend thing, Eric, sorry to interrupt you there. I think it's important to also remember that, in fact, there was a case in Britain, I think we talked about a few months back, where, some guy that was arrested for terrorism basically said that his virtual girlfriend influenced him to commit whatever act it was. So
Ooh.
one needs to be very careful there that, if a terrorist group or a religious group or whatever that has, or anything, that has a agenda that they want to implant in people's minds that are, I think people are into these virtual companions. People want
I
companions.
think that we still need to make critical thinking, though, John. For me, this is a new emerging technology. And, as far as getting even business advice like Chris is giving here, should you take this business advice? Like, to me, some things, if it's like a sales campaign, okay, it's worth trying, but if it's like serious advice, like, that could be questionable morally or whatnot, this stuff is still learning. Like, you should consult somebody else before, if it doesn't sound like the best idea. This stuff is not perfect.
Right.
Yeah, in theory, one should do that, Eric. But, unfortunately, a very large percentage of the population does lack critical thinking skills. And hence we have, conspiracy theories, just absolutely astounding.
Yeah, let's face it. The way the news is right now, they're going to tell something one way, and if you think it didn't happen that way, it's a conspiracy theory. And then what is the truth? So we're in such a weird time as far as what is accurate and what is not accurate, because they don't even need to report accurate stories. So is that a conspiracy theory? I mean,
we'll
Wild
have a
West.
whole discussion on that one. So let's move to our next topic, because I think that one is an interesting topic, particularly since here in the US, it's legal to lie as long as one does it for political reasons. So that in itself, to me, is mind-blowing. So anyway, on to our next topic, DALL-E 3.
Yeah, it's about ChatGPT and DALL-E 3. So, Eric.
So you guys have been talking all about DALL-E 3. So I got an email. I canceled my premium subscription to ChatGPT, and they obviously still have my email. So they've solicited me to tell me that now you guys have been talking about DALL-E 3, and I'm just not as super tech as you guys. So I've never tried it out. So I'm like, they might be wheeling me back to get, I'm going to try to get my subscription. I was talking to you guys about it because you guys obviously already are using these things. And I'm curious to see how user-friendly it is and what I can do with the capabilities of that without downloading all of these other things and programs. And yeah, so I brought it up to you guys of, hey, they do this, and you guys had an interesting opinion on it as well. But I'm going to get my application, and, in the next couple weeks, again, like how we're talking about continuing the conversations, I'll maybe report back with what I was able to create. How about that?
Yes.
Sounds great. So we can give you some homework, what you have to create, John.
Yeah, what would your homework be? So what should I have to do here if I'm
Well,
testing?
to me, the interesting thing would be to see if, OpenAI has a variation of DALL-E that is unique to them. And, both Chris and I have been using GPT, or not GPT, Bing rather, to access DALL-E 3. And so far, I've been very, very impressed. One of the things that really impresses me the most with Bing is the integration of being able to create an image using AI through DALL-E 3 and then pulling it into Microsoft Designer. It's just absolutely mind-blowing in terms of, I never thought I could be a graphic artist, but I think that Using AI, I could probably claim that I am.
You know what? And I would love to hear you have a debate with somebody who got a master's in graphic design of what they're able to create.
But you know, getting a master's in something is really, and I have 2 master's degrees in telecommunications, human services, and you know, I think it equips you to do so. And I've also taught, you know, at a master's level. Doesn't give one a whole lot in terms of anything other than being able to complete a project.
So I know we're getting close to running out of time here. So if I have some homework to do here with DALL-E 3, if each one of you had one thing that you think that I should, this thing,
I have a nice homework for you. So come on, at least make 10 images of pumpkins. So Halloween is coming up. Make 10 Halloween pumpkin images. Each one must be different. But in this case, don't make the typical pumpkin images as we know them, frightening and so on. Make the friendliest pumpkin images that you can imagine.
The friendliest pumpkin images. Okay. So we should all do that, and then we
so
should.
How about we all do that? But how about instead, you know, like let's do besides just pumpkins, how about we add in spirits as well? Because people think spirits are always terribly
add whatever you want.
Fear as well.
How about wait. I want pumpkins.
Okay, fine.
Because you can eat them afterwards, right?
Well, Jolly would have to be here to tell us about that. I've
He's here.
Definitely enjoyed pumpkin pie.
Yeah, for example.
At dinner. But
friendly pumpkins. Yeah. That's all you've got. Friendly pumpkins.
Friendly pumpkins, yeah, 10, but really different ones. Because that leads us to Halloween, and you know we will probably also around on Halloween.
But don't you think that should just be like there should be at least a friendly pumpkin in the picture, and if there's ghosts and goblins and whatever else in the picture,
they can all be there. It just needs to have the pumpkin. It needs to have a friendly pumpkin in the picture as well. How about that?
Okay, I'm going with that.
Okay. So we look forward to seeing what you come up with. Yeah, and you know, I don't know what you expect to see here, Chris. Whether the results that we see, I mean, I already know now from looking at so many DALL-E 3 images that it was done by DALL-E 3 with a high probability.
Right.
There's a certain look to the images that.
Yeah.
But. So it would be definitely interesting to see. I mean, the same thing with Midjourney. There's a look to the images and get away from it.
Also, with Stable Diffusion, you can somehow turn that. Yeah.
So this has been a great episode, and I know we're running out of time. Before we close, I would definitely like to leave us with just to give you guys a heads up of what we have coming up. Obviously, next week is a big holiday. And what we are planning on doing is being on the adventure in the metaverse. We're going to go visit for Devil's Night, those kind of themed worlds. And on the 3rd, so that'll be the 30th, Halloween. We will be obviously trying to go to Halloween festive worlds. And then for the Wednesday, which is the Day of the Dead, obviously more of those kind of spirit worlds. So anybody that wants to join us on those adventures, we will be in the metaverse.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Mystery. And the Metaverse Mystery Manor, I think it's called, is now a public world on VR chat. And so we are going to meet there at noon Eastern time on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, correct?
Right.
Yes.
And you're welcome to come on the tour with us and participate. If you'd like to do some improv and talk about Halloween and tell us think about Halloween, we'd love to have you along for the journey.
Well, that's only on how we're going to talk about Halloween. We're going to be going to hell basically for the 30th for the Devil's Night. And then the other day we'll be tapping into the spirit world of Day of the Dead.
No, that's good. So, but anything relating to those topics, I think, I mean, and they're all intertwined. I mean, they all have one thing in common. Celebrate.
It'll take place at the end of October and beginning of November.
No, I was thinking more it's a celebration of death. That's really, they're all related to that. You know, and then there's All Saints as well, and, you know, Day of Ascension, and the minute, it all mingles together.
All right. Okay, was a great talk and lots ahead. See you next time, guys.
Yes, thank you for watching. This is the Virtual Film Company. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at Virtual Film Company, and we are here every second Wednesday where we talk about technology and the like. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye.